Okay, so I wrote these notes up to go with your work. It is the 15th, and this goes with page 14, because sometimes I don't think the book gives enough good examples. So these match pretty well the problems in your book. So 6 times a number minus 11. 6, and you can use whatever variable you want. 6 times a number, and then that's the second part. 6 times a number, so I'm just going to use x. And then how do we show minus 11? Yes, minus 11. The product of 800 and a number. So product tells us to multiply. So we can just have 800x. Again, you can have n or a. It doesn't matter what variable you use. The quotient tells you to divide. What if you're like, oh gosh, I don't remember. Remember this sheet you got yesterday? Okay, front and back. There's lots of things. 30 is one part of the quotient, and then the product of 10 times a number. I prefer, product tells you to multiply. I prefer that you stack it, because in algebra we like fractions. It takes up a little less space. You don't see the division sign off, and you'll see fractions. If you wanted, you can do that way. Okay? But if you forget what these words mean, you have a full sheet of that. And I'm going to show you with number 4. It says 5 times the sum of 3 and some number. So if you're like, you can go to your sheet, times the sum of. So what do you see here? Parentheses. So 5 times the sum of, okay, and the sum part goes here. So 5, and then in your parentheses, 3 and some number. So how would I write that?
3 plus n.
3 plus n. N works as well. X, whatever you prefer to use. Number 5. Half the distance to school. If, again, like we just were talking about, if this doesn't make sense to you, make up a distance. What if you are 10 miles from school? What if it's 10? What if the distance is 10?
Inches.
Miles. How about miles? 10 miles from school. Then what would half of that be? 5. What if you're 20 miles from school? How are you figuring this out? Dividing by 2. So again, make up a few numbers, see what your answer would be. Think about how you're doing it. You're just taking a number and dividing it by 2. Could you also write x divided by 2? Sure. Technically, you could do this also. Half x. Okay? Multiplying by the fractional portion, like dividing by 3 is the same as multiplying by a third. Dividing by 4 is the same as multiplying by a fourth. That's why. Where's my Abby's? Don't I have 2 in here? Yes, right next to each other. How tall are you guys?
5'5", I think. 5'4".
Okay, well this works. So 2 inches shorter than Abby's height. Well, one of our Abby's is 5'5", so how many inches is that?
65.
65, and then 2 inches shorter than that. What would we do?
63.
Minus 2. Our other Abby is 5'4". So 64 minus 2. Do we know really how tall Abby? Well, you know, Abby is? No. So instead of 65, and instead of 64, what are we going to put instead of those numbers? X. And then we subtract 2. The difference of some number and 18, what would we put?
18 and something.
Is there a from or a than in here? No, so we just go in order. So some number, if you want to use n, x, whatever you like, minus 18. Okay. Be careful, these could look like 2s though. You have to watch any letters that could look like a number. That's why you don't use CO, you don't use an L typically unless it's in cursive, stuff like that. 7 less than a number. Ooh, turn around words. Less than or just than and from indicate that you put that last. So we're going to circle that so it stands out. 7 less than a number is really what then? X minus, or whatever your choice of variable is. Okay. 8 more than the product of a number and 4. So this is how I see it when I read it. 8 more than, and then this part, the product of a number and 4. Technically, 8 more than means you're going to add the 8 at the end, but addition, order does not matter. It's the commutative property for addition, and the same with multiplication. The product of a number and 4. So how do we show what is product? We need a variable, and it's multiplication. So you could say 4x plus 8, x times 4 plus 8. You could put it in parentheses if you wanted it to stand out more, but you would still do that portion first according to order of operations. I'm just sitting. You did? And technically, I mean, if you put the 8 plus whatever, it's all the same. Twice as long as the length of string. Well, how do you figure out what's twice of anything? What do? You multiply by 2. So do we even need to know really that it's a string? No. So how would I write that? You could have this, but what am I going to say I prefer? 2x. You can't have x2. You have to keep the coefficient in front of the variable. You can put the dot, but don't leave it out. Now, number 11, you might want to put like a little star. It's very, very, very similar to number 17 in your work. That's why I wrote out extra examples. So 3 less than the amount of cents in any number of quarters. So I see this part, 3 less than, and then I see the rest of it go together. So how do we show 3 less than? Minus 3. This is again where I'm saying make up something. The amount of cents in a number of quarters. Okay, what if you had 1 quarter? How many cents do you have? 45. What if you had 2 quarters? 50. What if you had 3 quarters? 75. What if you had 87 quarters? How would you solve that? 25 times 87. Well, do we know how many quarters you have? No, so that is your x. So you're just going to have 25x, because you could have 1 quarter, you could have 100 quarters. All right? But you have 3 less than that. Okay, so again, that's just like number 17 in your work for today. Do we have any other questions? This is part of your work. Again, you can do this and then just do the problems out of the book, page 14. Numbers 1 through 4, 12 through 17, and 30. You could just do this on the back. If you guys don't like writing on the back, that's fine. There's paper and everything for you to use back there. So let's turn words into math. If a variable isn't given, choose your own. So these problems go across. They're going to give you these in words. You have to tell me what operation. Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Reverse the order. That is this. They're asking if these are turnarounds, like than or from. It's not that many, but they're in there. So let's write turn around, because that's what they're called in your notes. And then the expression is us actually writing the expression. So 5 more than a number. First of all, is this adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Adding. If you want to write the word out, feel free. I'm just going to write the symbol. For a multiplication, let's put a dot. Now, do we reverse the order? More than. than. Technically, yes, but it's addition. It's commutative, so it really won't change the answer. But we will put it that way. Again, you'll see than and you'll see from. Those are your turnarounds. So the difference of a number and 12, what operation is that? Subtraction. Do we reverse the order? Do you see a than or a from? No. How do you find the difference of a number and 12? Pick your variable, and then what do I write? Minus 12. Okay? Does everyone understand this part? And again, if you want to, right on the back, you could put page 14, numbers 1 through 4, 12 through 17, and 30. You could do it right on the back if you choose.
What's addition and multiplication? You automatically put yes and then
No, you put no.